I think you might hit that button, maybe. Is it on?
Start again.
There you go.
Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Nadler, members of the committee, I appreciate this opportunity to testify before you. I would be grateful to work together with all the members on this committee and on both sides of the aisle to help strengthen the fight against anti-Semitism and all forms of hate. I am here today as a proud co-chair of the House Bipartisan Task Force for Combating Anti-Semitism, together with Representative Chris Smith of New Jersey and 6 other colleagues on both sides of the aisle, including Representative Ted Lieu, a member of this committee. As you know, in recent years, but especially since October 7th, we have witnessed an unprecedented increase in anti-Semitic incidents and threats targeting Jews in synagogues, on college campuses, and all around the country. The Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Director of the FBI have all reported an increase in threats against Jewish communities in the United States, and the Anti-Defamation League has recorded an astonishing 388% increase in anti-Semitic incidents since Hamas's brutal attack on Israel. The United States has a long-standing bipartisan commitment to fight against anti-Semitism, and I am here today to urge the committee to take concrete steps to counter this rise in anti-Semitism by improving hate crimes reporting, strengthening DOJ civil rights protections, and implementing key provisions of the U.S. national strategy to counter anti-Semitism. First, to prevent terrible anti-Semitic hate crimes against Americans, we must begin by getting accurate nationwide data on the threat. As you know, since Congress passed the Hate Crime Statistic Acts in 1990, the FBI has collected and reported annual statistics on all hate crimes, including those motivated by religious bias. Last month, the FBI released its 2022 hate crime statistic, and this data showed a troubling reality, that anti-Jewish hate crime incidents increased at least 25% from 2021 to 2022, the highest record number in decades. And as concerning as that data is, we know it remains incomplete. That is because, first, law enforcement participation remains voluntary rather than mandatory, and second, because many agencies are struggling to transition from the old crime data system to the new National Incident-Based Reporting System, known as NIBRS. I'm glad that Congress has passed the No Hate Act to provide grants to help incentivize law enforcement agencies to improve and transition hate crimes reporting. However, I believe this committee can do much more to eliminate gaps that remain by requiring all law enforcement agencies to report hate crimes data to the FBI. Second, I believe Congress can and do more to help support the FBI's investigation and the DOJ's prosecution of anti-Semitic and other hate crimes. In addition to the rise in threats to the Jewish community, we recently witnessed a horrific incident in Illinois in which a Muslim American family was attacked by their landlord, who stabbed a 6-year-old boy to death, which the FBI's Chicago field office is currently investigating as a potential hate crime. The Bureau is also currently investigating a sickening series of threats posted over the weekend targeting the Jewish students at Cornell University. This Monday, the DOJ announced it had charged a man who threatened to kill our colleague, Senator Jackie Rosen of Nevada, one of the strongest leaders in the fight to combat anti-Semitism. We must do more to deter and prosecute hate crimes. That's why last week, the House and Senate bipartisan task forces for combating anti-Semitism led a letter from 64 members of Congress to the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and FBI Director Chris Wray, urging them to provide immediate resources to help protect the safety and security of Jewish Americans, Jewish religious and educational institutions, and organizations that are vulnerable to increased threats and violence. Finally, I encourage the committee to help implement key aspects of the U.S. national strategy to counter anti-Semitism. Last year, my colleagues and I led more than 125 members of Congress in a bipartisan, bicameral effort to call for such a national strategy, and we have played a leading role in its development. This strategy, which the White House released in May, is the first comprehensive whole-of-society effort to fight anti-Semitism. Given the recent spike in anti-Semitism, it is critical that we swiftly implement, authorize, and codify key aspects of the strategy, especially so that Congress can hold every agency accountable for the commitments they've made. So we are working on bipartisan legislation to do just that. I look forward to working with members of this committee on that legislation. I'd like to give a special thanks to my colleague, Representative Ivey, for standing up to protesters right before this hearing and informing them of the facts, that Hamas is a terrorist group that has massacred innocent Israelis and is currently holding 240 civilians hostage and is dedicated to killing Jews and destroying the state of Israel. We all need to stand up to the misinformation and the spreading of anti-Semitism. Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, thank you for your work on this committee and in Congress to help fight the scourge of anti-Semitism. I am grateful for your time today. I look forward to working together with you and members of both parties to protect the Jewish community and counter anti-Semitism and hate.
Thank you. Thank you. That was well done.
Mr. Chairman, if just for a moment, Representative Manning, thank you so much. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate the action you took, Mr. Ivey. That's great. And this almost 400% increase in the last month is just scary. So thank you for that. The ranking member and I were talking just yesterday about some ideas that we think we can be helpful in this area. So we'll continue to have that discussion and see if we can do something.
Thank you. I would be pleased to work with you on that.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks so much.